Let's talk about forgiveness as a spiritual practice. It is a really big one and a difficult one. How do I know? Because I've been practicing it a lot lately. But when you integrate forgiveness in your spiritual practice, the rewards are amazing. A couple of years ago, a friend of mine and I were preparing to go to an event together, and I said something what I thought was innocuous, but it turned out it hurt her feelings really bad, so badly that she raged at me. And then when I tried to figure out what I said and what was it, she continued her rage, and I was really hurt. But she was too, because hurt people, right? So what I did was the next day I said, I'm truly sorry for what I said, even though I didn't know what I said. And she says, I will forgive you, but I will never forget. And with that broken heart of hers and mine, I just had to let it go. I just had to let her be. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever had, because not one of my very good friends of very many years have ever actually raged at me. Now, it took her about a year to come back to her senses, and she apologized and she told me what was going on, and I asked her what I said, and I was embarrassed to ask her, but I really wanted to know, and it was that I had mentioned that she was intimidating. The irony of that, yeah, she raged and I felt intimidated. But the process of forgiveness is about just letting it go, but grieving the relationship that I thought I had. Years ago, also, I attended a 12-day silent retreat. It was one of the most painful things I ever had gone through, physically and emotionally and spiritually. And I wouldn't recommend it for the faint of heart. But what came out of it was this Hindu teacher saying at the end of this retreat about Jesus. And he says, Jesus is being murdered on the cross, yet he's loving his enemies. And I'm like, that's my standard? Yeah, that's my standard. And let me just say, I fall short of that standard every single day, but I do the best I can. Forgiveness is not about the other person. Forgiveness is the ability to let go of your judgment against the other person, is to provide compassion for yourself for letting you get in that position in the first place. And if this resonates with you in any way, if it makes sense to you, put in the comments below about what you struggle with in forgiveness, because I know a lot of us do. Forgiveness to me is forgiving. It's forgiving to the other person, but mostly to myself. And the number one person that I need to forgive is me. The number one person that I need to let go of judgment and crazy and obsessive thinking is me. If I can give myself compassion, if you can give yourself compassion, then the world is going to be a kinder place. And today, I am reading from The Courage to Change just on this topic of forgiveness. Before, a long time ago, forgiveness meant power to me. I could judge the offender, the person who wasn't doing what I wanted, and then exercise my power by showing that I could rise above the events and magnanimously bestow my forgiveness. But I would never forget what would have been done. Today, I know that forgiveness has nothing to do with power. It does not give me control. Forgiveness is simply a reminder that I am on equal footing with every other child of God. We all do good and noble things at times, and on others we may offend. I have no right to judge, punish, or absolve anyone. When I behave self-righteously, I am the one who suffers. I separate myself from my fellow human beings, focus on others, and keep busy with hateful and negative thoughts. By taking this attitude, I tell myself that I am the victim, so I remain a victim. The most forgiving thing I can do is remember that my job is not to judge others, but to think and behave in a way that lets me feel good. And I don't know the motives or circumstances that causes another's behavior. I do know that when I hold on to resentments and blame, I occupy my spirit with bitterness. Today, I will find a more nurturing way to fill myself up. And I do want to say that did happen to me, and I saw myself start dropping into bitterness and anger, and I just didn't want to turn into a bitter old woman. There's enough of those in the world. What I want to do is offer myself forgiveness, compassion, and say, hey, you did the best you could. You're doing great. And talk to myself as I was my best friend. And I invite you to do the same thing today as your spiritual practice. When you screw up today, which you will, do not judge yourself. Hey, that's okay. We can get through it and just move on to the next step, because all we have is the present moment. If you like my content, please like, share, because you know somebody who's going to really benefit from understanding forgiveness. And then one more thing about forgiveness is that if you don't forgive and you keep ruminating on the pain, you are the one who is causing your suffering. Nobody else is. I love you.